joined here today by Izzy,
Hi.
and I'm Shashank. And today we've got a fun one for the holiday season coming up. So, Mr. Saint Nick, as we all know and love him, delivers all our presents and makes Christmas a very fun, enjoyable time. But what you may not know is actually through the holiday period, he breaks a lot of laws. So today we're going to go through every single law that Santa breaks throughout the holiday period.
Specifically, a lot of these laws tend to be on Christmas Eve when he's fast-paced delivering Christmas presents to everyone. So if we have a look, I might start with some traffic and aviation offences. So we've got speeding. Obviously, in one night, he's delivering presents all around the world, and that entails quite a fast speed to achieve all of that. However, in reality, he's probably breaking a lot of speeding restrictions. If we look to New South Wales, he is definitely speeding more than 10 kilometres, which for a light vehicle, although his would not be classed as light with all those presents, we should probably be looking at a heavy vehicle fine of a maximum $2,200, all the way up to a greater speeding offence of more than 45 kilometres an hour. We'd be looking at around a maximum fine of $5,500 and 6 months disqualification at a minimum. But of course, Santa needs to have a licence to even be disqualified from driving. So we're probably looking at something a little bit more harsher, considering he's driving what would be classed as an unregistered sleigh and speeding at astronomical rates.
Yeah.
Further, we've got to look at, I know it's often the case that a lot of kids leave out milk and cookies for Santa, but sometimes I think some of the adults leave out something a little bit sweeter, like a brandy or a whiskey, something a bit more enticing to keep Santa going throughout the night. So we kind of have to consider how many of those standard drinks is he having each time? If he's going around the world 24 hours, we're looking at least a few standard drinks per 10 minutes. So again, looking at what kind of restrictions he'd face. So under Section 110 of the Road Transport Act 2013, the Act sets out low, mid and high range drink driving offences. Now, as Santa is caught with a concentration of 0.05 grams or more, but less than 0.8 grams, he'd be looking at a low-range conviction, which may carry a maximum penalty of 20 penalty units, and each penalty unit is around $110, or a maximum of 30 penalty units if it's not his first offence, which, in the scheme of things, I dare say he's committed this a few times. We go all the way up to looking at the maximum, so high-range drink driving, and that would be around a blood alcohol concentration of 0.15 grams, and face, if it's his first offence, a potential maximum of 30 penalty units or imprisonment for 18 months or both, which I definitely think would put him at a delay when it comes to 2027 Christmas presents. Or if it's his second or subsequent offence, a maximum of 50 penalty units or imprisonment for 2 years or both. It's quite drastic.
Yeah, missed 2 Christmases in a row.
Exactly. I'm not sure the children of the world would really know how to cope with that.
Well, the other one that I found was super interesting was actually the labour laws. So an example is working time regulations. So elves reportedly work year-round without clear rest periods or annual leave entitlements. So Santa's opening up a can of worms there with that one as well. Also, many jurisdictions around the world mandate maximum weekly hours and minimum breaks, and Santa's workshop seems to ignore all of these. Wage compliance is a big thing. So there's no evidence that the elves are being paid. It just seems to be the holiday cheer. That's what they're paid in.
The spirit of Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got questions about exploitations and whether elves are employees or volunteers. As far as I'm aware, there is no elves union or collective bargaining agreement. So their rights for speech and representation are not there. You've got health and safety concerns, so high pressure production environments with unrealistic quotas.
Yeah.
With all the kids around the world that need
and
their
no
presents.
Oversight. Who's looking at the North Pole that no one can seemingly find?
And what
Santa's
jurisdiction does it fall
workshop.
under?
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. You've got child labour issues, so elves are kind of depicted as small, youthful, potentially minors. So then this could trigger labor prohibitions in terms of even getting the elves to build the presents. And then overtime. So working year round, continuous work without overtime pay. There's all these statutory provisions, especially in Australia with overtime, and seems to be non-compliant as of now.
Yeah. Really no jurisdiction for it to fall under.
No. But yeah, employment was a big one that I found. Tying into that actually is with the jurisdiction is being operating from the North Pole. Outside any recognized national jurisdictions means Santa's avoiding all the tax they could be paying if he's making any money out of this. So yeah, and as you said, no oversight. So essentially a tax haven for Santa. So maybe we should do the North Pole as well. Yeah, income tax. So Santa runs essentially a global gift distribution network. So the Amazon for Christmas, you could call it. Yet reports no income or profit to any government. So again, raising questions about undeclared revenue streams, licensing, branding, partnerships, all of that. You've got payroll tax, non-compliance, so employing thousands of elves without paying payroll tax or superannuation contributions, which are mandatory in Australia. And then, again, no evidence of PAYG withholding or social security contributions, none of that. The big one actually is customs and import duty. So like you said before, Santa's traveling all over the world at high speeds, recklessly at some times.
Yes.
And so this global distribution without paying customs duty or GST or VAT in countries could be a large-scale tax evasion.
Or even abiding by border control regulations.
Yeah.
What's he importing? And all
Exactly.
these reindeer that he's traveling, I'm not sure they'd even make it through Australia's borders, technically.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got massive criminal liability with this. Obviously, it's large-scale tax evasion, but then it's large-scale tax evasion in many jurisdictions. So Santa's opening himself up to quite a few issues here. Also, product liability and copyright infringement is another big one.
Yeah.
So Santa, many kids' wish lists have your Legos, your Barbies, and all of this. So elves are producing these lookalikes.
Yeah.
And a lot of issues could be sued for patent infringement.
Yeah.
Copyright issues, all of that.
Trademarking.
Yeah. The list goes on and on.
Quite, yeah.
Yeah, so replicas of everything, basically.
And leading into that, like the insurance scope of things, when something goes wrong with a product,
Yeah.
who do you look to? I'm not sure Santa has, the product liability, as you say, the product liability insurance, all the public liability insurance to cover when things blow up.
As far as I'm aware, Santa doesn't have a customer service line.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's funny that you said the reindeer thing, actually, because the animal welfare concerns are huge as well. So you've got reindeer pulling a sleigh at high speeds, 24 hours, globally, freezing conditions, and all of these things. So in that extreme work conditions, big thing, safe workplace environment. And then you've got legal framework breaches. So there's violations in almost every jurisdiction we have. So Australia has all of our state-based animal welfare laws. The UK has the Animal Welfare Act, so does the US, and then the Europe has the Directive on Animal Transport. So criminal liability across the board in every single jurisdiction that he visits.
Yeah. And well, throughout the night, I guess the reindeer are lucky if they've left some carrots.
Yeah. Exactly.
For their hours and hours of labour.
No veterinary care, nothing, as far as we know.
Yeah. Well, what veterinary care are elves capable of providing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one is actually property and trespass. So we got trespass, so breaking and entering, sliding down chimneys.
There is the argument that I saw put forward in an article somewhere that there's the implied consent. If you're leaving milk and cookies out for a specific person, there's an implied consent that they can come in and approach.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose people do want the presents that he's delivering. But he's also sneaking in the middle of the night to premises that are locked. And yeah, I'm not quite sure how that pans out in the scheme of implied consent and whether or not that would actually hold up.
Like, was he actually invited to enter your house or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
damage to property. You have a sleigh and reindeer falling on top of, well, not falling, rather landing on a house. I'm not quite sure how the house is meant to sustain that and the damage and who pays for that. And similarly, you look at an apartment building, the sleigh lands on the top and Santa goes into every single apartment.
Yeah.
Quite a risk of property damage there.
A strata nightmare is what you could call
exactly
Santa in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our insurance folk out there can
cope with that one.
Yeah. More work for them over the Christmas period.
Exactly.
But yeah, that is a breakdown of some of the laws that Santa's been breaking over the last however many years Santa's been delivering.
As long as he's sort of been there for all the kids. And I'm sure we all love him enough that he probably won't ever have to face any convictions or any fines for any of these. But funny place to look at leading into Christmas.
Exactly.
And I'm sure we'll all be looking out for Santa and assessing some of his movements perhaps a little bit more this year after looking into this.
Yep. But I guess the Santa operates under kind of a magical immunity over the Christmas period, so we'll let him off.
Yes.
This time. But thanks everyone for tuning in this year to the series of Trial by Podcast. It's been fantastic. We hope everyone has a safe, happy Christmas break, and we'll see you again next year.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Shashank.